Hi guys, so this video is basically about the comparison between traditional finance and behavioral finance. So I've just scribbled something. So this is basically some properties, some characteristics of traditional finance. So when I talk about traditional finance, I say this basically focuses on how individuals should behave. So please note down the word should. So this basically concentrates on how individuals should behave. So basically it believes in theoretical concepts. Basically theoretically, when we calculate, when we do the quantification, this number is coming. So this is the ideal situation, and this is how these guys should behave. These investors should behave, in other words. So in this situation, investor would do this. That is the ideal behavior of an investor. So this is how he should behave. When we talk about people who go by theoretical concepts, when we believe that they behave in a way theory says, in a way ideal situation says. So we say that people must be rational. So that's one property basically. People are rational. When we talk about traditional finance, we assume people are rational. So rational people, when I say that the person is rational, so I say he believes in logic. Whatever decision he takes is based on some logic, some reasoning, some intelligence. He uses some intelligence, right? So that's why he's rational. So that's one characteristic of people when it comes to traditional finance. The other characteristic is they are basically risk averse. So they basically avoid risk, and even if they have to take risk, then they'll expect a big return, great return. So even if the people are taking high risk, so in return of that, for taking that risk, they are expecting that they will get very high return, a higher return than the people who are not that much risk averse. So, for example, when I go to my office, and when I get late, usually when I'm late after maybe 11 in the morning, if I go after 11 in the morning, and my half day is deduced from the tally, from the records. So I drive very fast. I take risk. I do rash driving. So, but when I'm not late, I prefer to drive slow. So I drive fast when I'm getting late, because I know if I get late, my half day will be cut, and if there are no leaves, my salary will be cut. So that's why, I prefer to drive fast. I prefer to take that risk. The reason is the return I am getting for taking that risk is quite high, and it satisfies that trade-off. For me, it satisfies that trade-off. Or in other words, I am basically getting my utility of that return, of that taking that risk in form of that return. And that utility is, that trade-off is the half-day salary. Right? So half-day salary is more important for me than taking that risk of driving so rash. So risk averse. So basically, I'm risk averse. I will drive fast when I'm not late. So I'm risk averse. But I'm driving fast when I'm late, because I'm afraid that my salary will be deducted. And yes, one more thing. If I have enough leaves and my salary won't be deducted even if I'm late, then also I won't drive that fast in comparison to a situation when I don't have any leaves and I'm sure that if I get late, my salary will be deducted. So three situations. When I'm not late, I drive very slow. When I'm late and I have some balance of leaves, I drive fast, but I won't take rash risks. I won't take mad risks, crazy risks. But now, when I'm late and I know there's no leave balance, right? Then I'm going to drive crazy, because I know my salary will be deducted, half-day salary will be deducted. So accordingly, as return increases, my risk also increases. As risk increases, in other words, as risk increases, I probably expect higher return. So both around. Now, social utility maximizer. Now, other situation. My colleague is there, right? My colleague is there, and he's getting late, and he's with me, and I'm driving, and I have enough balance of leaves. Maybe the balance is going to get waste if I don't utilize it, so I don't care, right? So, and he says he doesn't have the leave balance, and he knows that if he gets late, his salary will be deducted. So he would probably push me that, boss, please drive fast. Friend, please drive fast. I would try to drive fast, but I wouldn't be that crazy. I probably would use my rationality when driving. Probably to satisfy him, I would drive fast, but not that crazy. Because I know I'm safe. That's basically I am. Basically my utility is not hurt. So accordingly, it happens I know it's not a very good example, but yes. Basically, they care about themselves. They're very selfish, and their own selfish utility should be maximized. That's another characteristic. Their selfish utility maximizers. So, that's the third characteristics of people when it comes to traditional finance. And even they can be unselfish in some situations when maybe their social values, I'm trying to show off that I'm dealing in social values. So again, my personal utility is met, that I'm getting that esteem that this person cares for social values. So my self-esteem is being taken care of. So again, even if I'm not taking care of my selfish utility, but indirectly by showing off, by maintaining my self-esteem, I am maintaining that selfish utility in a different form. So even if I am not directly maximizing my utility, but indirectly I would be. I'll take another example. Basically continuing that example, that my friend is there, he's getting late, same situation. He says, drive fast, boss. And I know that he can be of some use to me later. Or maybe he may, in my group, in my circle, he may say that yes, this person is very fast, very good. He helped me a lot. So I might drive crazy as well. Make him say his leave. Because I know later on I'm getting a lot of praises in my circle. Or maybe I'm getting some benefit as well. Maybe he's close to the boss. So I'm getting some benefit as well. So even if I drive crazy, that will have some utility to me as well. So I'm ultimately, indirectly, I'm again maximizing my selfish utility. So that's selfish utility maximizer. So three characteristics of people in traditional finance: they are rational, they use reasoning, they use intelligence, they are risk averse, they avoid risk, and even if they take risk, they would expect high return, and they are selfish utility maximizers. Now, these people usually are called rational economic men. That's the jargon, They call them rational economic men. And they lead, and when everybody is rational, everybody uses intelligence, everybody is basically acting in a situation which is ideal. So that leads to efficient markets. Everything is perfect. Everything is efficient. All the prices, which everybody knows, they reflect to all prices. Basically, all the information reflect to all the prices. So that's basically efficient markets. Now, this in traditional finance, people do the normative analysis, and they determine the rational solution to this problem. Basically, again, how should they do it? What is the ideal situation? Again, the same thing comes again. And again, they have prescriptive solutions with practical tools and methods to find the rational solution. So basically, what are practical tools available for finding the rational solutions, and they use those. That's traditional finance. Talk about behavioral finance. That's quite different. That's quite different. So when we talk about behavioral finance, we basically are talking about how individuals usually actually behave. So we are sure that not everybody behaves in an ideal manner. We are sure about that, right? So this is basically descriptive instead of prescriptive. What is traditional finance believes in what is prescribed in certain situations, right? Descriptive is what is actually happening, how they actually behave. right? So it does combine some concept of traditional finance. You can go through my scribbles as well. I just scribble it so that I don't forget when I'm talking about this, right? So, and there's something to look at on the screen as well, right? So, basically it combines the traditional finance concepts. Definitely, there are situations when people do things which are perfect, but not all the time. The point is that all the time. There are definitely situations when there are things which are being done which are perfect, but that happens not all the time. So basically, the reason is they use their emotional factors as well, where the subject of psychology comes. This analysis comes. Okay, these guys are using their emotional, basically the emotional part of the brain, right? And then the factor of neuroeconomics. When we say neuroeconomics, that's, as the definition says, decision making under uncertainty. So it basically studies the brain chemistry and how people are making decisions using their rational when I say the perfect situation. So as I say, they do make some perfect decisions, but some other times they use the emotional areas of brain. So that's how, when we study the brain chemistry and we understand. Okay, sometimes they're using the rational part of the brain, and sometimes they use the emotional part of the brain, and combine is the actual thing which is happening. That's behavioral finance, right? So then the next, when we go further, one thing is very important, that decision will be affected on certain situation when, basically depending upon how the information is presented to me. So basically that's where the emotional thing comes. So if 20 people are saying that person is bad, that person is bad, that person is bad, that person is bad, so I'm being presented a situation where I start believing that okay, that person must be bad. Everybody is saying that. Although when I use my the rational part of my brain, I might deduce that okay, that person is not that bad. But still, when I listen this 20-30 times, I might fall into that trap. That okay, this person might be bad. That's my emotional part of the brain, right? I'm using emotional part of the brain. Somewhere I'm using that, affect, right? Getting affected by what people saying, and what my close relatives saying, what my family saying. Okay, this person is bad. That person must be bad, right? So that's how it affects. So basically, what it says that individuals are normal people. They're not robots. So they're not really that expert in everything. That yes, this is this, this is that, this is 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 2 is 4. They're not that perfect. They might commit mistakes, right? I'm doing a lot of mistakes when I'm doing discussion. I'm fumbling a lot of time. So because I'm not a robot, right? And I have not written anything, so it's all impromptu. So okay, so and they not really act in a way that okay, I'm risk averse, so I'll avoid all the risk in the world, right? And if I have to take risk, so for this much of risk, I have to take this percentage of return. I can't really calculate it all the time. So few things I do take risk without even thinking of return because I use the emotional part of my brain, right? So I'm not perfectly, risk averse, but I really am. Overall, I am, but I'm not that perfect as a traditional finance. As the traditional finance says, if the person is perfectly risk averse, I might be risk averse, but not a perfect risk averse person, right? I don't all the time, maximize my utility. Sometimes I end up getting the utility which is not actually maximum utility which I can get. So because of the emotional areas of the brain, right? So this decision may be suboptimal, right? If you think of traditional finance, rational perspective, okay, this decision should be taken when this is a situation. That might not always happen. My decision should be maybe suboptimal sometimes. Now, when my decisions are not perfect, when everything not that efficient, not perfect, not idealized, definitely markets will not be that efficient as well, because everybody is not in that situation. Everybody was perfect, so markets are also perfect, because markets are made of people, investors. So when everybody is not perfect, so the markets may also will not be perfect as well, right? They may have deviation from the that efficient zone, that efficient zone. They may have deviation. The deviation may be temporary. Okay, for 1 week, maybe the people are emotionally biased for some reason. Maybe election, new president comes, right, and people are maybe emotionally biased because they don't care about what is what rationally should be there. So the markets fall. That may be a temporary deviation. There might be some persistent deviation as well, long-term deviations as well. But people don't believe in the economy. Something happens, people don't believe in the economy for 2, 3, 4 years, right? So ultimately, for long term, the markets are actually deviating from, and the investor who are always ready to arbitrate, even they don't believe in the economy for some reason. Maybe party is not that good. Maybe there's some war emergency, so they are afraid, right? So anything. Now, behavioral finance can be macro and micro. Again, like economy, like known as microeconomics, macroeconomics. Behavioral finance can also be macro and macro, basically. Again, it's very simple. Macro is basically decisions making of individuals. How individuals they basically make decisions which are not really rational, as per the traditional finance. Macros, basically, this is a result of these individual decision making. So this is a combined result, and markets also deviate from being efficient, as we discussed earlier as well. So there's a difference between traditional finance and behavioral finance, and these things will be used very often, in the whole behavioral finance area. These concepts we want to use very often, so very useful.